This video is from the notes on September 1st and into September 2nd. It's primarily about 1var stats, outliers, making box plots, and we're going off of 7th period's data here. And if you were absent those 2 days, I added a value. So at the very end, I added a value 35 to make this a little more interesting. So if you need to, pause it, type those into your calculator and practice, and we'll go from there. If you are holding a TI-84, press Stat, then Edit, and you can type them in, Inspire, open a spreadsheet, and start typing. If you're in Inspire, make sure you name the list. So here we go. I already have them typed in. And by the way, you go right here. Let me go back. So it's kind of highlighted right there. That's the spreadsheet button. And when I turn this on, I have 3 tabs open. If that's your case, I would hit Control Up and delete the windows, or I'd delete all of them. But I already typed mine into this one, so I'm just going to keep this one open. Because if you have another list called A or whatever, your calculator will not like that. So I would start from scratch. But anyways, I named mine A. And there's all my data, including the last one that I added, 35. So make sure you scroll back up. If you're way down on the screen, you're not going to see the output when you do 1var stats. So menu, stats, stat calc, 1var stats. We have one list. I named mine A and hit OK. So you might write all these down, well, the important ones. We won't use some of the x's right here. We won't use some of the x squareds. We'll do standard deviation on Friday, but not today. But maybe write down that. That's our mean time to get to school. And here is our 5-number summary. The minimum, the Q1, for quartile 1, the median, quartile 3, and the maximum. We'll use those to make our box plot. But let's go back to the question. So right here under find the mean, 14.4, I always say go 4 decimal places. It's a little overkill on this one, but 14.4444 minutes is the average time for students in 7th period to get to school. So let's write that down. We use the symbol X bar. The average time for 7th period AP Stats students to get to school is 14.44 minutes. Now something that's interesting to look at, let's scribble out, sorry Nathaniel, but we're going to scribble out your time. And we're going to delete exclude 35. All right, so let me go back to the calculator and literally delete it. If you're holding an 84, you can still delete it, but you're going to have to rerun 1var stats. So when I delete it, the Inspire automatically corrects, and it dropped a lot smaller. It's down to 13.2353. Did the median change? The median did not. Median stayed the same. Q1 changed. Q3 changed, and the maximum, of course, changed, but the median stayed. Maybe it's because there's multiple 14s. Remember, the median is the smallest. So back to the problem. Exclude 35, recalculate the mean, and let's say, yes, it did change. $13.2353. It went down because 35 is a lot larger than other values. Maybe an outlier. We'll find out here in a little bit. So it's maybe an outlier. There's a little bit about the mean, a little bit about the median. You might pause it if you need help getting the median by hand. It's just the middle number. If you have an odd set of numbers, it's the middle number. If you have an even set of numbers, it's the average of the two middle ones. But I think you guys already know that. So we're going to move on. Moving on, at the bottom, what is the median? We already wrote that down, or noted it in one of our stats. It is 14 minutes, so feel free to write that down. And we're going to move on. See what kind of effect mean and median have on each other, or shape has on the mean and median. All right, feel free to draw these. I'm going to give us a bigger screen so we have room to work. So let's draw a symmetric distribution. Anything symmetric. I'm going to draw a bell curve. That looks rough. Let's try again. If I have a symmetric distribution, the mean is approximately equal to the median. If it's perfectly symmetric, which is unlikely, then they're equal. But if it's about symmetric, then they'll be approximately the same. If we have a right skew, meaning we have a right tail, the mean will be, think about it, which one is bigger? The mean will be bigger, sorry, I almost said smaller. It will be bigger. If someone makes a perfect score on a test and everyone else scores around a 70, that perfect score pulls the mean higher. It pulls the class average higher. An outlier, right skew, it pulls the mean towards those large values. And then the opposite is true for left skew. If someone makes a 0 on a test, that really drops the class average. Has a direct effect on the mean, no effect on the median. Outliers have no effect on the median. All right, next we're going to talk about range and interquartile range, IQR. You already know something about range. That's pretty easy. Max minus min. But IQR, I'm going to erase and scroll up. So IQR is quartile 3 minus quartile 1. Right there. You got to have that memorized. That's not on your formula chart. If for some reason you want to find Q1 and Q3, Q1 is the middle of the lower half. Q3 is the middle of the upper half. They can be a headache to find if you're doing this by hand. But the calculator does it in one of our stats, as you saw a second ago. So the range for our data set is 35 minus 3, so 32 minutes. The IQR, the interquartile range, is 18 minus 9, which is 9. By the way, we know a little bit more about some of these one-bar stats. Q1 is the 25th percentile. The median is the 50th. We'll talk about percentiles eventually, but this is just kind of bonus information. Remember, a percentile's the percent below. So if Q1 is the 25th, that means 25% of the data set is below Q1. Median's the 50th, that means 50% of the data is below the median. And Q3 is the 75th, which naturally the IQR is the middle 50% of the distribution, which then implies IQR is not affected by outliers, because outliers are like your mins and your maxes or other numbers close to those. They have no effect on Q1 and Q3. IQR is another measure of spread. So now we know range, we know IQR, we're about to learn standard deviation. There's 3 measures of spread right there. Right down there you can see the formula for outliers. I'm going to show you that, and then we're going to do another video for our data to make a box plot. But there's the formula for outliers. We'll do that here in a little bit in another video. So, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.